Dr. Lisa and the ARC Wildlife team are swinging into action as those unending mystery boxes turn up with injured wildlife, all requiring the team's urgent attention. But making a difference in the lives of animals is what Holistic Vets and ARC are all about. The day is in full throttle already, and there appears to be some form of dog conference going on in reception. But first of all, you may remember Saf from last week, a cherished 14-year-old dog who has endured everything from a tumour in her stomach to being hit by a car, and Dr. Lisa is concerned about the extent of her injuries. Heartbreakingly, Saf's owners were faced with a difficult decision to make for poor Saf, and for Dr. Lisa too, who has known Saf and looked after her for years.
Sadly, last night I was called out to put Saf to sleep. She just didn't manage to come back, and the pain from her joints, the arthritis that was compromised by her old age and being overweight was just too much, and her quality of life was no longer good enough to justify keeping her going. And thankfully, as vets, we can end pain and suffering. There's some really good drugs that we can help to give doggies to send them on their way. So when I went to their house last night, Saf met me at the door, and she was cheerful and bright, her front end doing nicely, but of course her back end unable to move. But we took her through to her bed, and she lay down, let me give her a nice tummy tickle, and I injected her with a little sedative, which just put her into a nice deep sleep. And with her lovely owners gathered around, we're getting heaps of cuddles. We gave her another injection of an anesthetic, and the anesthetic just puts her into a much deeper sleep, but the overdose makes her heart stop. And then I'm sure she went off to doggy heaven and is now wearing a nice halo, and she'll be remembered for being such a wonderful doggy.
Let's take a moment to remember Saf and the abundance of love she brought to her family over the years. Wherever life is full of sadness, it is also full of the hope, faith, and the courage of pet owners. We check back in on Pisa, the cat who is paralysed from the waist down, who Dr. Lisa and her amazing team have been giving lots of TLC, determined to do all they can for this precious girl and her courageous owners. With tears, remembering the day of the accident, Pisa's owners, Jazz and Deb, tell us that their cat Pisa has taught them the real meaning of unconditional love.
With Pisa, now when you take her home, what is going to be involved in like the ongoing care?
It's going to be huge. It's really exciting and really scary at the same time, though.
Yeah.
I'm pretty scared, but happy at the same time.
She's only had her for 2 months and 3 weeks before the accident. So before Jazz came home, she was just this cute cat down the road.
Yeah.
That I'd visit 5 minutes at a time and go home and forget about her. And then when she came to live at home with us, she just became instant love. And Jazz would say to me all the time, she's my cat, Mum. Don't get too attached.
Pisa's owners have been learning about the massive responsibility of looking after a handicapped animal, and they have a journey ahead of them. We wish them well, and we'll update you again at the end of the series as to how Pisa is getting on with a progress report. What do you do when your pet has been so hyper and full of anxiety that you and the dog are almost driven to the brink and don't know what else to do? Well, Dr. Lisa, always keen on finding ways of helping to make a difference to the lives of her patients and caregivers, has learned a method of treatment that Memphis responds to well.
Memphis has always been a hyperactive and slightly anxious dog, and Katrine's worked so hard to look after him, but ever since he had an accident where he ran into a car and knocked himself unconscious, we've been managing him really carefully just to get his pain under control with injuries that he sustained. He's been making really good headway, but his anxiety and sort of hyperactivity issues have been amplified. We've tried a number of drugs and various therapies, but this therapy that we're doing now, called NIS, or the Neurological Integration System, it's a really powerful means of helping animals. And in my search for therapies that would help to make a difference to animals' lives where I didn't have any other tools, it can really help to rebalance things, and we have lots of animals that come into us that respond beautifully. So this has been Memphis's godsend, because without this treatment, Kat reckons she would have been forced to put him to sleep.
Pretty much booking him in to be put down.
Oh
Like,
my God.
it just got to a point where it was out of control, everything.
Nearly done. Be patient. Hey, I know that's really hard.
I'm gonna say there's not a long term. Good boy.
Okay. Oh, you're done. Hey, but did you just need to do that for the camera so that Uncle Graham and Auntie Carly know what you're doing? That's very thoughtful, ma'am. She's, yep, you need to know what a man really is.
Good boy.
Coming up after the break, what can Dr. Lisa do for a hawk with a broken wing? A baby duckling is needing some urgent help, and the age-old question, is it or is it not okay to feed your dog chocolate? Now fresh, 100% grain-free natural pet food for dogs and cats. Brought to you by healthypetfoods.co.nz for a healthier, happier pet.